fool! Where's that money? Do you realize what this means? It means bankruptcy and scandal and prison. That's what it means. One of us is going to jail. Well, it's not going to be me.
Fear, and what to do about it. That is the theme for this week's The Weekly Strategy Memo. I'm Rich Tafel, president of RLT Strategies, and each week I answer a question from a world-changing leader. Today I'm speaking to you from Mexico City, and the question is from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Since the economic crisis hit, friends and associates who 1 year ago were on top of the world today have privately confessed they're terrified, depressed, worried for their marriages and their reputations. What advice can I give to them and maybe even see some silver lining in these very hard times? We are living in a fear culture. When I left the United States, reading the magazines, the topic, fear. Turned on the television, fear. Told people I was coming to Mexico City, they warned me about kidnapping, food poisoning, and crime. Arrived in Mexico City, turned on the TV, the topic in Mexico, the crisis. So we are so inundated right now with fear talk and crisis talk that even if you're not afraid, you might feel that you need to be afraid and start worrying just because everything around us is reinforcing a fear culture. Let me give some suggestions that I think you could do with this friend of yours to break out of a fear culture. These are some simple exercises that I do with my clients. First of all, I believe fear lives in the basement of our mind where it's dark and dank. The best thing you can do to knock out a fear is put it into the light of day. Light sanitizes fear. Name the fears and put them out in the light of day. Sometimes when my clients just name their fears, they start laughing and said, I'm kind of embarrassed that that was really a fear. It's gone as soon as it's said. But some fears linger. And when you have those fears out there and you've named them, there's really two types. Types that I can control, things I can do something about, and types that I can't. We need to let go of the things we can't control. And we need to look at the things that we can control, which is where most of our fears are. And I'd like to take that exercise a step further. Start pulling on the string of your fears and do a worst case scenario. What if I lose my job? What if I lose my house? What if my relationship falls apart? Go through. Sounds counterintuitive to talk like that, but actually, again, naming the fears allows you to put a plan onto the fears. Now, in reality, in most cases, you won't have to enact any of these plans because those fears will never be realized. But by having a plan around worst case scenarios, it can actually mitigate against the fears that we have now. So, naming the fears, planning out a worst case scenario are two quick exercises that you could do with your friend or for yourself. But a third thing is to get outside of yourself. Do something for somebody else, particularly on maybe one of the topics you're afraid about. If you're afraid about losing your house, volunteer at a homeless shelter. But getting outside of ourselves is another way of squashing fear, and it also helps put things in perspective. It's a very powerful action step that you could take. So those are a couple of things that you could do to break the cycle of the fear culture. You asked what you could do as a friend. Sometimes just telling a person who is gripped in fear that you believe in them, that you are there for them, that this too shall pass, is the most powerful thing you can do. Sometimes we have so little confidence in ourselves that it's others believing in ourselves that gets us through. You can play that role as a friend. So there's a lot that we can do. You asked about a silver lining. I think there is a silver lining in this, in that we were never those jobs. We were never those titles. We were never those salaries. We were never those houses. That was never us. We are really what we love, who we love, and who loves us. And I'm actually finding, at least among my clients, that this situation is forcing people to look back about what's most important, the people in their lives. And if that's what comes out of this crisis, that's more than just a silver lining. That makes this a wonderful life and a great opportunity. Remember, life is an adventure. Take the risks. Have fun with it. This is not a dress rehearsal. And this is Rich Tafel with the Weekly Strategy Memo. I look forward to your feedback and your questions. Thanks for listening.